What is a Person Worth? By that engineer. Chapter 4. Truths and Lies. As the day winded down, the Loud family was returning to their abode. The girls in grades K through 8 were already home, the high schoolers arrived not too long ago, and Lisa was just getting home from her teaching job. The parents had yet to arrive, but they were well on their way after a typical Thursday shift. As the girls were getting up to doing their usual antics, one sister in particular had someone on her mind. Luna sat on her bed, casually strumming a chord on her guitar. She wasn't trying to make up or remake any songs, but hearing music usually helped her think better. The one person she was thinking about was the only brother she had in the family. Ever since that little affair that happened at her last gig, Lincoln had been rather quiet lately, almost to Lucy's level of silence. She knew something was bugging the Ace Savvy fan, but every time she asked him, he gave her a fake smile and said, "Don't worry about it." Naturally, Luna could tell that was a lie. She would pry him further about it, but the musician didn't want to disrespect his privacy, at least more than she already had. She didn't know whether he was still hung up about that incident at her gig, or it was over something else, but Luna noticed that over the last few days, he seemed to be getting worse. He effectively stopped smiling, was quiet when it came to dinner, and he had this look of contempt whenever her other sisters wanted to bring him to their events with the suit. Granted, she'd too be annoyed given the bee stings and the electrical discharge he suffered from, but something was telling her that it went deeper than that. The 15-year-old looked down at her more comedic sister, who was busy thinking up new jokes to use. "Luann!" Luann paused to look at her roommate. "Hey, Luna, how's the weather up there?" She chuckled. The rocker responded with a dry laugh. "Ha ha! Look, have you noticed something odd going on with Lincoln?" The comedian shrugged. "Not that I know of. I did test a few jokes on him and he didn't even laugh. He usually laughs at my jokes, but then again, you guys always groan whenever I make a good pun." "Probably 'cause they aren't that good to begin with," Luna muttered. "But do you think we might be taking advantage of him? I mean, how many times has he attended our events?" "Well, there's my birthday parties, Lola's pageants, Lori's golf games, and Lucy's digging and goth sessions. And we both know he had an electrifying time. However, when he got sprung up into the ceiling, that could actually make a good prank." The 14-year-old chuckled. "Not funny, dude. I think something might be seriously wrong with him. Could be more to it than I think. Ah, don't be such a downer. I know he got hurt, but Lincoln can take a few stings and getting fried. I mean, Lisa's done worse. You could say he's rather indesquirrelable." Luann laughed at her own pun. "Urgh!" Luna growled in annoyance. Leave it to the family comedian to make jokes when she was trying to have a serious discussion. "Forget I even said anything," she stated before jumping off her bed and walking out of the room. Looking around the empty hall, she noticed the door to the eldest sister's room was cracked open a bit. The musician could hear the 16-year-old sister humming a tune. Peeking through the door, Lenny was busy drawing something on paper. Luna knocked on the door. "Hey, dude, got a minute?" "Sure, I got, plenty of time," Lenny replied enthusiastically. "Does it seem like Lincoln's been, I don't know, moody?" "Moody?" Lenny replied before letting out a gasp. "Is he sick?" "Doubt it. If he was, we might be sick too," Luna answered, remembering the last time the flu had spread around the house. That was not a fun week for anyone. "I mean, has he been acting like, say, Lucy or something?" Lenny tapped on her chin. "Now that I think about it, I have noticed him frowning more like her lately. Not like Lucy's usual frown, but he's upset about something. I remember yesterday he had, the most irritated look when he came home from Lola's pageant. Might be because of that.
Maybe, but he's been looking like he'd smash a guitar on a bloke's head well before that happened.
Luna pondered in thought. She was interrupted by the sound of the front door opening. Kids, we're home! Came the cheery voice of Lynn Sr. Think we should tell Mom and Dad? Lenny asked.
That would be a good idea.
The 15-year-old looked at the paper Lenny was doodling on.
What you got there? Oh, I was totally gonna make Lincoln a new bed after Mom and Dad threw out his old one. I even made a matching dresser to go with it. I thought it'd cheer him up so he wouldn't have to sleep on the cold hard floor. Just look at it. It's adorable,
the blonde gushed. Luna looked at the drawing. It depicted a twin-sized bed with Ace Savvy etched on the front and sides with a matching dresser. The musician was actually surprised that Lenny was capable of making an architectural piece with such precision and beautiful design. Then again, the girl can make a curtain into a holiday dress.
Wow, dude, this is seriously rockin'. How'd you... Wait, did you say his bed was thrown out?
Lenny nodded.
I remember when his room got boarded up and we thought it was tainted with bad luck. Mom said that they were going to sell it, and I saw these burly looking guys pick up one day 'cause they dropped the frame in the dresser somehow. I remember them saying they couldn't sell it afterwards, so they had some other guys come pick it up. And how did you find out about this? The floor told me.
The blonde smiled. True, the walls were rather thin, but apparently you could hear conversations through the floor if you listened clearly. Plus, Lori and Lenny's room was directly above the master bedroom. At that point, it registered in Luna's head as to why Lincoln would be upset. Aside from getting kicked out of the house, he didn't even have a bed to sleep on now, on top of everyone believing he was a good luck charm. Having to wear that costume day in and day out must be making Lincoln feel horrible. And that's only the tip of the iceberg.
Sis, we messed up big time,
Luna said monotonously with a blank stare.
What do you mean?
Luna grabbed Lenny's shirt, pulling her close to stare her in the eyes.
Us! All of us! He has no bed! We forced him out of the house! We didn't even believe him when he said he faked having bad luck!
The musician let go, causing the blonde to fall back into her chair.
I feel like a complete monster instead of a sister right now!
Luna shook with guilt.
Oh my god! You're right! We gotta help Linky before he becomes even sicker!
Lenny replied, the sad expression on her face proving that her words were sincere, even if the last part was odd. The two bolted from the room and ran to their brother's room. Upon reaching it, they threw open the door, only to find the sole occupant absent.
Ah! Lenny screamed. He's invisible again! No, dude, he's just not here.
Lisa opened her door and looked at the two in annoyance.
May I ask what the sudden noise without my tympanic membrane was about? Little Dudette, have you seen Lincoln anywhere in the house? No. He should have arrived at the same time as our other elementary school assemblies, but he has not.
For once, Lenny was genuinely irritated.
If you knew he wasn't home, why didn't you, say anything? It'd been 3 days.
Luna face palmed.
Where's Lenny?
Lisa shrugged.
I assumed he would be attending whatever activities he had planned for this afternoon.
She then squinted her eyes.
Unless you two want to drag him and his supposed good luck to your events. No, dude, it's worse. Lincoln is very likely to be really sore with us. And we gotta make things right before it gets worse.
The 15-year-old explained.
At least someone besides myself has a brain in this family,
Lisa stated, adjusting her glasses.
What is that supposed to mean?
Both older girls asked, looking miffed.
On Monday, at exactly 1700 hours, Lincoln came to me to help convince you fools that he wasn't good luck. To be frank, I tried telling you guys he wasn't bad luck weeks ago, but instead, you let yourself believe whatever you wanted. Sadly, I myself was guilty of taking part in this tomfoolery, but corrected myself shortly after,
The child prodigy explained.
But you were the one who suggested we board up his room,
Luna yelled.
and the pressure from the rest of you to find the solution,
Lisa retorted, becoming angry. She's not going to take full blame for this when everyone has a part to play.
And believe it or not, I hated having to propose the idea of making Lincoln leave the premises. Who knows what could have happened to him out there? And to be frank, our brother isn't just upset, he's...
The 4-year-old stopped when the sound of the front door slamming echoed throughout the house. In the living room, Lola, Lana, and Lily were busy watching TV while Lori was texting on her phone when the door was literally kicked open. Curiously, they leaned towards the door. Even the parents, who were in the kitchen preparing dinner, poked their heads out. At first, they expected Lynn Jr., as she had a habit of doing this whenever she was upset, but the jock was in her room. Instead, standing in the doorway was a certain white-haired boy, and he held a look that spoke of anger and frustration. His hair was ruffled and messy, while his face contained scratches from his earlier fight in the junkyard.
Whoa! You alright, bro?
Lana asked.
No, Lana! I'm not!
Lincoln replied, his tone laced with venom as he spoke through gritted teeth.
Lincoln, aren't you forgetting something?
Lola asked.
Like what?
He said, casting a gaze towards the princess.
Didn't you wear your squirrel suit to school or something?
Lori asked, a bit disinterested as she continued texting. Lincoln gave a low chuckle.
Funny thing about that, I lost it.
Sarcasm was well evident when he said lost.
Wait, what?
Lola yelled before running up to him.
What do you mean you lost it? Are you trying to let bad luck come to us again? Or are you just wanting to keep all the good luck for yourself, huh?
The princess accused. This turned out to be a pretty bad move on her part, because the next thing Lola knew, she was hoisted up by the collar of her gown and staring at the enraged face of her brother. This clearly wasn't the same Lincoln she was used to. It actually made her lose her nerve.
No, Lola! I tossed it into a pile of burning junk! Happy?
He yelled before dropping her on her fanny. Lola scooted away from him, the look of fear plastered on her face. Lincoln Loud! Lynn Sr. yelled as he came out of the kitchen.
That's no way to treat your sister! Apologize to her this instant! And why did you throw away your suit?
By now, the sisters who were upstairs were coming down, wondering what all the yelling was about. Luna and Lenny had worried expressions on their faces. Luann, Lynn, and Lucy looked confused, if you could say that in Lucy's case, while Lisa looked as if she expected this to happen. Under normal circumstances, Lincoln would have obeyed his father without much of a thought. But no, not this time. At this point, he wasn't even sure if the man even deserved to be called a father after all the crap the boy had been through over the past few weeks. Save for his mother, given the fact that she lied to him and allowed the misfortune that happened to him. The only thing the white-haired boy was feeling right now was contempt, anger, and a desire for revenge. And these feelings continued to build the longer he stood in the house. It almost felt alien to him, but at the same time, it felt like it was just what he needed. Love and compassion had no place in his heart right now. Whenever he had been put through rough times at the hands of his family, he always forgave them. Sometimes his family would forgive him when he made mistakes. But during his long walk home, the boy realized he may have given his family too much leniency for their past omissions, and he wasn't going to forgive them for what happened over the false pretense of having any kind of luck. As such, He acted on his own current level of aggression. Lincoln, answer me when I'm talking to you, Lynn Sr. commanded, making Lincoln curl his fists even tighter. The boy gave a small laugh. No, Dad, I'm not apologizing. In fact, why should I have to say sorry to people who've been doing nothing but making me endure hell for the past few days? Or better yet, a damn good amount of time as an 11-year-old! He yelled, his anger rising, surprising his sisters. They would never expect a kind boy like him to actually swear, until he was older at least. But if Lincoln was so angry that he had to use foul language, it was clear he had been bottling up his anger for a while. Rita gasped. Lincoln, that's no way to talk to your father, and you should not be using such language, she scolded him. Oh, stuff it, Mom! You want to know why I got rid of the suit? I was chased, he pointed at Lynn Jr., by our damn rival team because they were sore about losing their last game. I had to hide in the junkyard, and I got attacked by dogs, tearing the suit up to pieces. Ever since I had to start wearing that fucking thing outside of games, nothing but pain and misfortune had come to me while the rest of you remained oblivious to it. And I'd be damned if I had to take it home so that this brat and idiot, he gestured to Lola and Lenny respectively, can stitch it up again just so you guys can make me wear it again in the name of your damn superstitions! Everyone's mouth was agape at the colorful language Lincoln used in his rant, and his triad wasn't even close to finishing. Oh, and guess what I saw at the dub, Mom? Rita shook her head. What do you mean? I threw the suit into a pile of burning debris. Said debris were parts of my furniture, which you said you guys sold. He glared at his mother. We did try to sell it, but the guys taking it accidentally broke it, so we thought it'd be best to trash it, Rita explained uneasily. So that's it, huh? You guys thought since I wouldn't be in the house anymore, you thought it'd be okay to sell... No. Throw out my stuff? Why don't you just get rid of my clothes since I might as well be a complete stranger? The incredibly peeved boy folded his arms. I probably wouldn't have found out if you girls, he points to Lucy and the twins, actually realized I wasn't on the damn bus. So thanks for proving no one in this house cares about me. Lincoln, we do care about you, and you need to calm down. Laurie started, showing genuine concern. He glared at Laurie. Oh, please! Don't act like you give a crap! Only thing you ever care about is texting your oh-so-precious boyfriend! You might as well be married to that phone considering how often you type on it! Hey, I'm not on the phone all the time! Right, guys? The rest of the family gave a sideways glance, which essentially proved Lincoln right. And the rest of you don't care enough to notice how wearing that stupid costume made me feel. You cared more about your stupid luck than your only son/brother. Lincoln, that's not true, Lenny cried. You know it is, Lenny. Every time I suffer from an unfortunate accident, that suit will look brand new, yet I still have welts from bee stings. If you guys really cared, you would have done more than just 1-minute healing sessions. But instead, you continue to lie to me just so I can continue being your stupid good luck charm. He now points accusingly at his father. You were even more concerned about that stupid suit than me, and an alligator almost killed me! Lincoln, Lynn Sr. started, but the boy interrupted. Spare me your lies, Dad. Remember when we thought you and Mom were going to kick us out of the house, but you were really talking about your toy collection? You said you'd never get rid of any of your children. Either that was a lie or I'm not considered part of this family. Lincoln, you are part of this family. You're my older brother, for God's sake. The white-haired boy gave a dark laugh.
That's funny, Lana, because if I remember correctly, my room was boarded up, I was forced to sleep outside, and even your brat of a twin seemed wholehearted at the notion of me not coming to the beach with you guys because I was bad luck. He practically hated those two words at this point. I'll admit it was really stupid of me to let this white lie drag on for so long, but did it have to involve removing me from the house? Whose idea was that anyways?
Everyone in the family became quiet. The girls had guilty looks on their faces. Even Lisa was uncomfortable. In the parents' case, they felt like monsters for deciding to go along with the idea. But what kind of parent decides to go along with the idea to remove one of their children from the house like they were some kind of plague? Not only that, it also calls a lot of legal matters into question. Lincoln's anger diminished a bit, causing depression to start setting in.
Just why? Why is it that every time I make a mistake, everyone is quick to jump on my case? But when the girls do it, everyone feels sympathetic and they have their backs. Is it because I'm the only other guy in this house? Is it because I wasn't born as a girl? Is that it? Lincoln, I can assure you that gender has nothing to do with it,
Lisa stated.
Really? Then why wouldn't you help me fix this? Are your studies that more important than your own family?
This question made the 4-year-old look at the floor with guilt. It was true she could have done something to stem the tide of this facade the family was going through, yet she chose to sit on the sidelines and watch what happens. Now she's regretting the consequences of her actions. Lincoln shook his head when she didn't answer.
Every day I go to everyone's events to support them, but there comes a time when someone needs to unwind. But with a family as huge as this, guess there's no room for privacy.
His anger started to rise again.
Day in and day out, I can't even get a moment of peace before one of you girls barge into my room and try to get me to do something. You pranked me just because I wanted some peace and quiet.
He glared at Lola.
I was forced to set off multiple pranks because someone had to invite Ronnie Ann over.
He gave a cold stare at Luann, making the comedian shift uneasily.
Got kicked out of my room twice and had a good day ruined just because the two biggest blondes in the house had to fight over a dress.
Lori and Lenny shared guilty looks for this. The boy's anger continued to build back up to its previous level.
Had to take the blame for clogging the toilet just because a certain someone can't handle criticism.
Lucy hung her head in shame. The boy paused for a moment.
And speaking about the toilet, you girls remember that dare where we each gave up our annoying habits and we all learned to accept them? That was a huge lie because all of you laughed at my Ace Savvy outfit. Not only that, you never cared that I could have failed the 5th grade when you guys chased off my tutor. You have also ruined my chances for claiming the sweet spot just because I didn't want to be stuck with a crappy seat or sit next to someone who'd annoy me for the whole trip. I know I probably ruined it by asking too many questions, but why couldn't you just let me have the seat?
The boy took a few deep breaths.
But nothing compares to the amount of idiocy I suffered a few weeks ago.
Lincoln finally turned his gaze towards Lynn.
Lincoln?
Lynn said uneasily. The boy marched right up to the sportsman addict.
You forced me to come to your stupid game despite the fact I had a clear reason why I didn't want to go, and why I couldn't attend your other games, but no. You felt the need to threaten me with a bat. Then when you lose your game, it's somehow my fault? I felt sorry for your loss, and yet you label me as bad luck.
Lynn flinched under his screams. He turned away from her.
You're not a winner by any regards, Lynn. You're just a sore loser.
At those words, Lynn's pupils shrank. There were two things that would set her off, mocking her skills and coming in a place other than first. Lincoln just insulted her on both fronts. Instinctively, her rebellious nature kicked in.
Oh yeah? What about you, Mr. I'm too lazy to exercise? You asked me to play football for you just because you couldn't hack it.
The jock replied defiantly. Lincoln turned around.
Difference is, you agreed to help me, and I didn't even threaten you in the process. You loved every second of it. You were fucking smiling as you threatened to beat me with that bat. And then you have the nerve to say it's my fault you lost. Then you go on and claim I'm bad luck just because you managed to win your next 2 games. Here's a lesson for you, Lynn.
He leaned in till he was within an inch from her nose.
Real winners take losing in stride. And clearly, you're not one of them.
The 13-year-old was now getting furious.
Take that back! Why should I take back something when it's... Ugh.
Lincoln got interrupted when he felt his sister's fist collide with his cheek, knocking him to the floor. The rest of the family gasped in shock.
I said, take it back!
Lynn yelled, cracking her knuckles. Lincoln lied on the floor in a daze. He was surprised that Lynn actually hit him rather hard, but given her nature, he should have expected this. The boy's blood was boiling hot right now, his anger climbing to amounts not even Lincoln himself was previously aware of. As a result, his face was actually starting to turn red with rage. He was fully content on letting his family know how he felt about them through his words, thinking that would be enough. But if Lynn wanted to throw down with him, then by all means he was prepared to return the favor.
Dude, why'd you have to hit him?
Luna scolded.
What else was I going to do? No one insults my skills and gets away with it, Lynn countered. He was just venting out his emotions, Lynn, as harsh as they were, Lisa argued. But does he actually have the right to talk like that to any of us?
The jock retorted. Lisa looked behind Lynn and noticed Lincoln was standing back up. Cautiously, she backed away from her.
You should ask him that!
The genius pointed behind her. Lynn looked and saw Lincoln back on his feet, his face red with anger and steam practically coming out of his nostrils every time he took a breath.
What, you want more?
She mocked, while Luna and Lenny shook their heads, not believing that Lynn wasn't taking this seriously. There were 10 stages of anger, from lowest to highest. Bothered, mild irritation, annoyed, indignation, frustrated, infuriated, hostile, wrath, fury, and lastly, rage. In Lynn's case, her level was that of indignation. When Lincoln came home, his aggression was up to infuriated, but thanks to that one punch, his anger was pushed beyond the boundaries of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to level aggression 11. And enrage doesn't even begin to cover it. In a state of livid fury, the Lincoln gave a yell that spoke of unadulterated hatred before charging at the sportsman. Lynn was prepared for a fight, but she didn't expect the fury an 11-year-old could unleash. She got tackled to the floor and Lincoln started delivering several punches to her face, his anger fueling the force each hit carried. Being the strongest of the two, she managed to reverse the position and started hammering at her brother. Lincoln planted his knee into her midsection before grabbing her wrists and throwing her into the back of the couch. The twins and Lori screamed in fear while Lily began to cry. The four moved away from the couch as the 11-year-old pounced on his sister. He wrapped his hands around her neck and started bashing her head against the back of the furniture piece, putting the tomboy in a daze. Getting short of breath, Lynn put her thumbs into Lincoln's eyes and pressed hard into them. The boy screamed in pain, causing him to let go, giving the jock time to reach over and bash him with one of the couch seats. Everyone else screamed for them to stop, but their cries fell on deaf ears. Before he could get hit with the seat again, Lincoln grabbed the cushion and pushed Lynn all the way to the wall. He then proceeded to punch the spot where he hoped her face was. The blows weren't that hard due to the cushion softening the blows, but the tomboy still felt them. Lynn growled before swinging her leg up, nailing Lincoln right in the area that defined his gender. The boy slumped to the floor in pain, holding his package, and Lynn took this chance to kick him while he was down. Despite the pain, Lincoln did his best to ignore it and grabbed Lynn's leg. Seconds later, Lynn cried in agony as she felt the boy's teeth enclose around her limb. She beat on Lincoln's head in an attempt to force him to let go, but the boy bit harder in response. Forcing her to kneel down, she grabbed one of his arms and bit his fingers in retaliation. Lincoln screamed through gritted teeth as his mouth was still hanging onto Lynn's leg. He could feel some blood pouring into his mouth as his teeth broke through the skin. Same for Lynn. The two kept biting each other before the family finally decided to act. Lori and Lenny rushed in and pulled Lynn away, while Luna and Luann did the same to Lincoln. Both yelled in pain as their teeth were forced to release their target, but not without tearing off more skin. Lincoln's fingers bled while Lynn's leg gushed out a moderate amount of blood. They tried to re-engage their brawl, but the sisters kept them at bay. "Why don't you just admit that you never loved me?" the boy yelled out, struggling to get away from his sisters. "Why would I have to admit that? You already know you're the weakest link here," Lynn countered. She tried to bite Lori, but she moved her arm away in time. "So that's your reason for always bullying me? No wonder you never use anyone else. You go after the weakest person in the family. You're the worst sister to ever live. Lincoln and Lynn, stop with your arguing right now," Lynn Sr. told them, but to no avail. "Fine. You want the truth so bad? You were never my ideal brother anyway. I never loved you. I wish I had a better sister instead of you. No, better yet, I wish you were never born," Lynn finally yelled, panting as her struggle ceased. Lincoln stopped at the same time, his face no longer red. The sisters released their grips on them as it seemed they wouldn't start another fight. "So you finally admit I've been nothing but a burden to this family." "Lincoln, no one ever said you were a—" Rita started. "You say that, but your actions prove otherwise. If you didn't want a son in your life, then why drag it all up to this? Do you want me to say I'm sorry I wasn't born like my sisters? I guess it doesn't matter since I've been nothing but a luck-based charm for the better half of a month. Well, sorry that I'm different. I just..." His voice still held some rage, but it was starting to break. "I just can't take this anymore!" Without another word, the 11-year-old ran up to the door, slamming it shut in the process. "Lincoln, wait! Don't leave!" Luna ran after him. She opened the door, but unfortunately, the boy already disappeared. Lynn was still panting on the floor, her anger diminishing. It was only then that it dawned on her what she said, and the guilt slammed into her like a truck going at 70 miles an hour. She really loved her brother, but she had a different way of showing it. The musician became enraged and glared at Lynn. "Well, I hope you're happy, you idiot! Thanks to you, Lincoln is gone! He's out there by himself, and God knows what could happen to him! And all of us had a part to play in this band we call a family!" Her gaze turned to everyone else. "I realized too little too late how all of this was affecting Lincoln, and everything he said to us, we wholeheartedly deserved every second of it. I was supposed to be his guardian. That you guys entrusted me with this case since he was born, and what do I have to show for it? Letting him suffer not only from my hands, but also everyone else, and not paying attention when he's hurt. I'm ashamed at being a part of this family." Luna was fighting back tears at this point. She stormed towards the door. "But where are you going, Luna?" Lola asked. "To find my brother." Lincoln ran as fast as he could into the darkened streets. He didn't know where to go or what else to do, so he just ran. Houses whizzed by him as he continued running. He didn't get very far from the Loud House, at most maybe a couple blocks. His anger-fueled rant and tussle with Lynn really did a number on his stamina. He came to a stop under a light post, putting a hand against it to catch his breath. The boy was no longer angry. In fact, the entire time he had been fighting back tears. He didn't want his so-called family to see him cry, not they'd care in his opinion. The aftermath of his rage-induced rampage caught up to him, forcing him to sit down in the illuminated glow of the lights. Depression finally had its chance to kick in as the boy rummaged through his thoughts. As far as he was concerned, he had no one he could call a mom, dad, or even sister anymore. In his mind, he had been nothing but a burden to the Louds. They always had a good time without him. He seemed to make things worse, and whenever he had to learn from his mistakes, the girls usually got away with whatever they did. He berated his entire family, and even bit Lynn hard enough to draw blood. The boy lightly touched his mouth, noting some of his sister's blood was still there. Lincoln felt more tears coming up, but he didn't stop them. He let the floodgates open to their maximum potential, and he sat there letting sobs flow freely after that had been held back for a tiring amount of time. He didn't know where he would go, or what was in store for him, but it didn't matter. He just wanted to sit there and be left alone. However, what the boy didn't know was that in his mindless run, he wandered into another familiar part of the neighborhood, and inside a house just across the street, a certain Hispanic girl was staring at him in surprise. And this is the end of Chapter 4. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to check the description. This is X-Ray 93, and I'll see you all in Chapter 5.